I've started the recording, so it should be yes.
All right, so
It
just
should
to recap, okay, so you're doing the system development lifecycle. You're doing some software engineering. So there are many different software engineering methodologies, right? You all for keep you most likely be doing focusing on the SDLC model, but there are many other models. So for example, if in case someone wants you to create an app quickly, they might come to you and say, you think you could do an app for me? I just want to be able to selling some products there, selling some market products. And I want you to be able to show my bananas and apples and whatever it is, fig, right? And I want to be able to show people to see it and to be able to order it, and I will deliver it to their house. All right, something like that, you mightn't actually go through this whole SDLC process. All right, the person will talk to you, so you'll have a requirement stage. And then you will go straight off and you might go to Unity and you might start to build the system straight off. So in that system like that is what I call rapid prototyping. And then you might let the user install it on their phone, try it, say, look, what you think about it? They say, look, yeah, it's all right, but I don't like these yellow colors they use here. I rather in case you use a nice blue color or something like that, or whatever it is. And then you go back, you change it, and then you go back, you send it back to them. And they say, okay, look, it's working good enough. But when they click the drop down box, you're not getting bananas, not showing up. You're seeing apples and whatever it is. And then they're going to fix that. And so you keep on iterating the process. So that's a rapid prototyping model. Now, SDLC model is a little longer than that. All right. Now, there are advantages and definite advantages and disadvantages of SDLC model. Now, one of the major disadvantages of the SDLC model is that sometimes it takes so long between the requirements and sending out the system to the user's requirement change. And by the time they get the system, it's something that, hey, they say, well, look, we wanted this to work like that, but in the new developments or what happened there, COVID came and whatever it is, and we want these extra features. So now we have to go back to the drawing board. Well, not right to the drawing board, but you go back to it and you go back, you add in new requirements and you go back to analysis, design, testing, and whatever it is, and then whatever it is. So, because sometimes a system takes years, all right? It might take a whole year and doing that SDLC model. But fortunately for this system, this didn't take us years. It just took us it took us a few weeks. So just to recap what we did. So we had the requirements, which we got from the principal. So the principal gave us a document, or she gave us the physical application form that sixth form normally uses. And together with a conversation with her, I determined, okay, look, this is what they want. They want to be able to store student name, address, date of birth, this and that. They want to be able to store their grades. They want to be able to store their profiles. They want to be able to upload their achievements if they had any. They want to be able to upload profile picture and multiple documents, like, for example, their exam slip and so forth. Right, so we had all the requirements documented. So that's the requirement stage. So as I said before, many times as a developer, you will develop systems and you will realize that these things just happen naturally. So naturally, you would have asked the principal to provide what she wants done, and that was the requirement stage. Then naturally, now you would take those requirements and you would go ahead and you may do your IPO charts to show the different things that you need inputted, outputted, and so forth. And then you would begin your design stage of your algorithms. Now, the algorithms are very important because if you don't have the algorithms, certain things would not work, especially if you want certain parts of the system to work in an automated way, or if in case you wanted the system to seem smart. So in our system, we didn't want anybody to be able to apply for subjects if they did not pre-qualify for the subject or they did not have the prerequisite. So that's why I was showing you on the side here, we had to create a lot of algorithms, which we had to think up in the design stage, all right, in order to create these algorithms that you would be using in the coding stage, right? These were already coded out, but you have to think of the algorithm first. If accounts grade, if in case the person got a grade 1 or a grade 2 in accounts, then you'll be able to get accounts. If in case they got a additional mathematics grade 1 or grade 2 or grade 3, then you'll be able to get applied maths and so forth. Right, so to add some kind of intelligence to the system, you would have to have a bunch of algorithms in order to make the system work properly. So the next stage in the SDLC model, you will notice, is the coding stage. So after that, we would go to the drawing board and we would start to code the system. So in this case, the system is coding using PHP and MySQL. All right, PHP is a server-side type of programming. This is, if you notice, this is a WordPress backend for those who know about WordPress. But it's using PHP and MySQL programming, and that's the programming language that we use in order to actually code out the system. So now the stage that we are on now is that we need to test it. So that's why.
Mr. Laban, we have a hand up with a question.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, Joshua. That's the next. Joshua is the next one of my ex-lab boys and helped me a lot with Startle. Yes, Joshua.
Yes, sir. So you all created that website, or use a template to create it?
All right, it's a WordPress. So yes, it was a template. Let me just. Well, WordPress have their sites in the form of themes, right? So basically, this was our theme. Right, this is the admin login here. So that's why you will see all of these black areas here, but you normally won't see that. This is the name of the team, kindergarten team. All right, but this is the theme that we used. So when you see installing WordPress, you could go on sites like Theme Forest and Evato Marketplace and so forth. And there are some free themes, but the best ones are the ones that you would purchase. And the WordPress theme will have basically a bit blank pages and all of that, and then you add your program into it. So although you will have the pages and all that, in order to do all of this kind of stuff, you'll actually have to create what you call plugins, and you're actually programming the plugins and installing it inside of the WordPress to add functionality to it. Right? Otherwise, if in case somebody wanted a basic site, they could have installed a theme like this. You could have go in the backend and you could change up the content of these pages, and you have a website up and running. But to make the website do some more stuff, all right, like how we wanted it to use for this online application and for online payments to take credit cards and so forth, you wouldn't get that out of the box. You will have to add programming to it in order to get it later. That answer your question, Joshua?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. Hey, David in your class too. You have everybody from my X Labs, Mr. Valles.
Yes, sir.
David is a great animator, by the way. You probably didn't know that. Very good at and crazy talk animation. Very, very good.
So I want to know if it's the website that's allow you to publish as well. Or if it's like something you have to pay for.
Oh, well, when you see if in case you want to preview your sites and so forth, you could install a web server on your computer and you can install the WordPress inside there. But in our case, we publish it on an online server. In this case, we are using AWS, right? We're using Amazon Web Services. You probably heard about it, right? So it's a branch of Amazon and they create cloud services. So it's a cloud server. So what's the difference between a cloud server and something that you could probably get on GoDaddy? Right now, you could, the easiest way to go if you want to put up a website, you go on GoDaddy, you pay for a plan. So most of the time you pay for a web hosting plan or you pay for a WordPress hosting plan. And you would get to upload your site to it. And they have a bunch of tools that makes it easy. Now, if you really want to go on the highly professional side, you go on something like AWS or you go on something like DigitalOcean, Cloudflare, that kind of stuff. And you actually have to know some more. This is more for like the more professionals because you don't really get a good, easy console that GoDaddy might present. You have to kind of do a lot of scripting stuff and use, these FTPs to link it up to link up with the server and all that. They don't have many user-friendly tools, but it's very secure. It is very, you know, this is the way to go if in case you're really going on a large scale site and you really pay for what you use. So that's a good thing, you know. If you realize that, okay, look, I have 10,000 people visiting my site, but it's gonna scale up, so I want 20,000 people to be able to access and it doesn't crash. You could go on AWS and you could bump up the RAM. You could say, okay, I'm gonna pay for 8 gig of RAM, 16 gig of RAM, whatever it is, but you're not able to do that with GoDaddy. You're just paying for flat out hosting, right? But it's the easiest way to go, GoDaddy and so forth, if in case you want to put up something without much experience.
All right, thanks, sir.
All right. Any more questions on any this kind of stuff or anything related? Feel free to ask. When you're testing the system, guys, I will ask if in case you could send me a message in the chat if in case in the Teams chat, in case you come across anything that when you're using the system, anything that you think could change or anything that you think, you know, probably you get an error with this, probably you think we should do it better or whatever. Just feel free to send me a message, Keith Laban on Teams. All right, so this is what we so basically that was it for the SDLC model. So we are on the testing stage here, and we would like your help to put up some applications so that we could finish test the backend. And then when you see, we realize that we have changes to make because we inadvertently, I was really up to last night, I was talking to some of my developers and we are making some changes right now. So we are kind of on the maintenance and it's kind of looping back here. So when you see we test it, we realize we have changes to make, and then you come back up, you have new requirements, and then you kind of come back down and code it in the system again. So that's why the SDLC model is an iterative model. It kind of loops until the system is done. And the system is never totally done. As you know, with most systems, including Microsoft and everybody, they will always release updates, right? These good old updates, which will fix some kind of issue in the system, a bug or something, it will patch. All right. So, all right. So let me show you what we'll do. So Mr. Valles will send the link for you in the chat. All right. But I'm just gonna give you a demo of what I want you to do. All right. So I'm gonna just share back the screen right here. So when he sends the link, because I don't have access to the chat for some strange reason. All right. So when he links it back to you, all right, you will realize that, okay, you get the link for this here, right? We want your help to submit applications. So just click on my account. All right, go ahead and I would like you to use your actual email address. You know, pretend you're a student. Well, you're not logging back in, so you have to create a new account. All right, and go ahead and fill it out. So if I need...
we have to put the link in the chat again. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put the link in the chat for them to. So students, please click on this link. You still not seeing the chat, Keith?
Yeah, I not seeing the chat. Probably since it registered me as external. I don't know what went on.
I don't. I don't know what's on there. All right. Well, I've put it in the chat, so they should be there. Josiah has a question for you. Go ahead, Josiah.
So I know you're testing in other classes, but if you tested before and enter the same information, would it just duplicate, or did you remove the previous information?
Could you do that for us now
Yeah.
and attempt it? That would actually be very useful for us.
Okay.
So yeah, tell us what your experience with that would be. I believe the system should pick it up, but that's an important test actually. That you go in there. So yeah, you could try and put in the same information twice. Same email address, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yes, nice. So that's it. That's important, you know, because just yesterday I was talking to one of your students. I don't know if she's not here, but she sent me a message, and I got some great feedback, and we actually implemented it already. You know, I will show you the feedback I got from her, and it was you know, it was something we wasn't even. Many times you're developing a system and you don't, if you're not looking from another set of eyes, you will not see something clearly that somebody will see. You know, you would test 100 times and not see what they see. Right. So that's a good thing about getting these you students to test it. So I'm just adding a fictitious number here. Now you don't have to put your real number, but it would be nice to put your real email address because we're gonna be testing the posting out of the stuff to you guys. Right?
Some of you all might get accepted to sixth form, and some of you all might not.
If you don't get accepted, guys, don't say that. Don't stop coming to school, eh? Next thing, Mr. Valdez, they stop coming to school. They say they got rejected from sixth form.
Yeah, but I see a set of them drop out of my class. Let them know that the position locked.
All right, so I'm just making up this guy. All right. I put a fictitious email, but I like if you put your real email address so that it will actually go out somewhere. So I'm clicking, I just fill out the basic registration. I click submit. All right, so all right, so when you see a login, folks, I want you'll be going to applications for admissions and you'll be going under sixth form application, right? I believe anything you click, you will get something saying that it's not there. All right, so we go to sixth form admission. I saw something right here. So this is the thing we're setting up for the fees. That's the thing we're setting up for the fees right now. All right, so you go to sixth form application, all right, and it will come up like this. Right now, believe it or not, folks, there's a slight modification to this. So Savales, you notice the modification in the tab?
What they asked? No.
A simple thing that making it even easier. You see these numbers here? We did not have numbers.
Yeah.
In the instruction, we said completed from the left to right. Now, one of your smart students, she was using, and I mean smart in a real good way, right? She was using Safari browser, and she also, her browser was not maximized.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was looking like this.
Yes.
So she asked me, so left to right mean that mine showing on 2 rows. So what does that mean? Means I come in 2 and then here and here.
1 and 7, 3 and 8.
Yeah. So you see, we tested so many times and we didn't realize that we would end up with a problem like that. So so much thanks to that student. Forgot her name, but she sent me a message. We was able to implement this. And now we could tell the students in instructions that they need to start from 1 and go to 9, right? Which makes more sense, right? So because if you do it on a phone, you might have about 3 or 4 rows on a phone screen, right? So that's just an idea, folks, about how important it is to get the user feedback. So when you test it, you get feedback. And the feedback you use to make more changes. And so that's the iterative process. And notice you could get...
They call that UX, user experience.
Yes, user experience. Right?
So yeah, and I mean, students, UX is a whole area of especially with testing and interaction. That's a whole area of study. You could do I think there are degrees now on
Yeah.
user experience alone,
Yeah.
where they focus, because that's for like people who do digital media and design, art and design, and they are into the computers. They because a lot of the people, and I was one of them, when I was a programmer, I didn't care what the site looked like. I just wanted it to work. So
Yeah.
everything I used to create for like my projects, and it would be bare minimum in terms of look and feel.
Yeah.
When I went into, I was a PHP programmer for 6 months, and the same thing. Once I would, if like my boss started, if my boss had a project and I started, we had a design guy. He used to design up the site and cut it up. At that time, they used to use not Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver was what I used to use. He would do it in another one of Adobe programs, and once he created the flat images, he could then cut it up and it would automatically export it to our web page, and I would put the functionality in the web page. Now that was in 2006, so that was really years ago. I suppose that they have more intuitive tools now, but and what he used to do, I mean, I could not do, and since then to now, the way that you interact with websites, web pages, etc. Joshua here in the chat is saying, if you could add like a little profile picture to the user account, so maybe the same picture that they upload could eventually be like their profile picture or something, because they might want to come back to the site and check on something or the other, right?
Yeah.
So thanks for that. And trust me, Mr. Laban would notice. And Josiah said he tried the same information and it said it exists already. So he did get the notification.
Okay, good. That is good.
All right. So yeah. So I mean, even if you're not on the heavy programming side, in terms of application development and app development, and even for certain aspects of hardware, there is there is job space, and there are areas of study where you can go and learn, honestly. Right? Ryan is saying that this experience was pretty interesting to do. Right? So I think he enjoying what we're doing so far. All right, back to you, Keith.
All right, thanks. Yes, folks. So as Mr. Valdez was saying, it's so important. We have so many different areas. I would always encourage my students. If you open up quizzes right here, right? Quizzes is a marvelous site with respect to user experience. I would always say. Like you just clicking something and it's feeling like if in case you cannot click in air, that's user experience. And Mr. Valdez, like you go on a site and like you just had to like touch it, just like flowing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like quizzes is a marvelous site. When you go on, you go on the quizzes here, it's like you barely could touch anything. You just, everything just opening out things right here. Your profile, on this side, you could change your account, you could start your quiz. Very, 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 very user friendly. This loading very fast. You see when something is loading, all right, notice you will see the little arrow, right? That's also so a user wouldn't be wondering, is this page really loading? You're seeing the little arrow spinning so that in your mind you'll say, look, something gonna come up just now. And we also added some of that to the site. So when things uploading, you'll see things spinning and all that. So all of that adds to the whole user experience. And that's a whole different area there too. So in case you don't think that, okay, this programming thing isn't totally for me, all right? There are many areas, if in case you think you're good in art, right? Look at this. These are nice looking things, to make certain sites, you have to actually be able to lay out stuff. You gotta be able to create icons. You gotta be able to all of this adding to the actual programming experience. So the person who is doing the programming is one thing, but the person who is actually creating the artwork for the site and so forth, artwork for the app, all of that is very useful too. And that is part of the process, and that is part of designing and so forth. So even if you're not strong in programming, there is a place for you in the world of IT, software development.
And actually it overlaps in a huge way, especially for not just the user experience aspect, but for persons who want to get into game design as well. Again, you know, you see that a lot of the games, a big part of the gaming budgets now and gaming teams are the art directors and the creative persons, not just the programmers who could get it to work. Because it's one thing to get, to see like a ball move across your screen at different speeds. But then when a director decide, okay, well, this is the light source and this is where the ball is, and you could change the camera angles, and that is it's something huge, and it does call for understanding. From the art perspective or from the user perspective, you might need to still know a little bit of the programming, but and the thing is, the programmers, they might know what they want it to look like, but they have no way to express what they need it to be. So it really and truly is a team of persons who have to come together. I know we haven't gone into detail in terms of like the testing aspect of that, but it's a team of persons who come together and they have to bring together every aspect of the system, and they call that really and truly like integration testing, right? Where you take all the little components, you take the front end, the back end, the database, you put them together, and you make sure that when data goes into the front end, it gets processed in the back end and stored in the database properly. When you have to pull the data out, whether or not if you're processing it, right, or you're just taking it out as it is, you have to make sure that it could be displayed in the way that you need it to be displayed. You have to make sure that the users depending on maybe what type of user it is. Because if you look at the front end and the back end of even the system that Mr. Laban here is building, right, where he shows us the back end, it does look a little more serious. But for the students, you really don't want to have any students stuck in any particular location in terms of registering, right? I mean, thankfully we should have a line of communication, but that's a good way to lose a potential student from application, because and you all would I'm on video here, but you all would encounter that when they reach tertiary education. Trust me, to this day, I know people who every time they have to register with UE or UTT's website, or even Costat's website, they pull the hair. And I could tell you that for student registration, those sites are not as pretty as this site. It doesn't feel as appealing. It feels just like you're filling out a digital form, rather than with the user experience. You're comfortable. You honestly need to feel a little comfortable with the flow of the website, the feel of the website. So if again, while you all are testing it and putting in data, if you feel like any little design element could change, we can't guarantee that it will change now, but it could go on on the notes for something in the future that would make the students feel a little at ease with respect to putting in the website.
Yes.
So
For sure. Feel free, folks. Feel free. Your input is extremely valuable, as I saw that we are actually implementing some already. All right. And as Mr. Valdez was just saying, you want to also, this could have been done in the form of a very long form, as was the original document, right? But the user experience, the user likes to fill out things in chunks. You know, they like to fill this a little chunk of this and know that, hey, look, I finished this part and I reach here, I progress in, you know, rather than have a whole long form with 100 fields. That this might probably have, this total form might have probably 100 fields or more. All right, and then feel bogged down. And then, you know, also we have the asterisk here, meaning that all you need to do is fill out the mandatory stuff. So when you test any system, guys, it's up to you. If you want to fill out more than the mandatory stuff, you know, mandatory designated by the red asterisk, feel free. Right, remember you're starting from 1 and going towards 9. So when you finish each stage, you're supposed to click on save. If you try to move on, right, you could also try that too and see if the system will allow you. If it is allowing you, you could always send me a message and say, sir, you know, I was able to jump and still submit this thing, although I missed out the whole at 3, you know. All right, but you will notice that certain things will come up in red and you'll have to fix it before you could progress. So try to make it user friendly, you know, the upload part. So you'll go ahead and fill this out. For father's info is just the father's name is the only mandatory field. Mother's info is just the mother's name. The guardian info is just the guardianship to know who the person will be staying with. For other info, the only thing that's mandatory is the school transport and if you have relatives in the school. All right, so in case you're really not feeling to fill out anything too much, you could just do the mandatory. If you're feeling to fill out some more stuff, feel free to fill out some more stuff. The medical info, the only mandatory field is immunizations. For the upload, the only mandatory is the exam slip. Now, we were supposed to fix something on the back end right now because profile picture was the mandatory. And if you did not upload a profile picture, you were seeing the spinning wheel that wasn't stopping. So if that's your experience, if you upload some little document, right? Upload a small document, right? Something that should be loading fast. If you find that
any one-page PDF document.
Yeah, PDF, Word document, a text file, something that could be in any of these formats here, right? Upload it and make sure it's a small file and let me know. All right, you could always send me a message how long it takes to actually, you know, go through, right? If in case you notice it, you send a little text file and it's taking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, well, that's something is wrong there. You could send me a message and let me know. All right. If in case you notice it's not going through at all, try uploading a profile. Any picture here. I have a SpongeBob picture I put. All right, and it will and see if in case it stops. Right. If it stops and you're able to go on to 8 or 9, well then, all right, you could always tell me that too, right? But anyhow, so
Josiah is reporting here in the chat that the profile picture thing got fixed. He said it took like 5 seconds.
Ah, well, nice.
You know,
So glad to see the guys and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. All right. Last night we had a little issue with it spinning, but they got it done. So that's nice. So so grade info, guys, you just put what you want them to do, Mr. Valles. You just want them to probably choose what they have already, or probably just make up something.
They could make up something. It's fine with me. Because they, you know, just know that any grade below, if you have 2 or 3 grades below 4, chances are the system will weed you out already. You know, so put in you know 1s or 2s. You could put in anything for the profiles that should get you 1s or 2s, and you know just make it reasonable, make it believable.
Yeah.
It could be any combination of subjects though. I mean, but you need to have maths and English is mandatory, right?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah.
Right.
So actually, does the system do that? If you leave out the English A mark or the maths mark, does it tell you you need to have those? Because at the very least, you'll have to have those 2 subjects.
Right now we don't have English and maths set as a mandatory field. All right, everything English and maths not set as mandatory.
Okay.
Right. If in case you think that English and maths should be set as mandatory, but
that could come later.
Yeah. All right. Okay, folks. So you all just fill this out and click on subject choice. And according to the subjects that you have, that would depend on the subjects that you would be able to choose. All right. So according to what you upload. So right now we are kind of actively working to fix some stuff for the algorithms here. So you would notice that, for example, you probably put chemistry, physics, and you might see biology available here. All right. You could always send me a message. All right. But this is something that we know about and we're actively fixing to make sure that it's only restricted to particular subjects. All right. It was working. Something
I have
went
a
off.
student here, Alicia, is saying her exam slip isn't going through. Alicia, what file format is the exam slip file? Is it a PDF or was it a picture or Word document?
PDF, a small PDF.
Small PDF? What happening when you try to upload it?
I'm not getting anything like after I click it and I press open or select it, it's nothing happening.
But you're seeing it uploaded, you're seeing the file name in the upload area?
No.
The wheel stops spinning? The little upload wheel.
Seeing anything.
All right. Well, probably try another document now. Probably try something else. Try a little small picture download or something. Just try something different. Try a Word document or something and upload it and see if it goes through, right? If not, you could always send me a message in the chat, in the Teams chat.
Could students stop like halfway through, like you do the first 6 and you decide to stop and then come back later and do 7, 8, and 9?
No, they'll have to go through it and submit the application.
All in one?
Yeah, it doesn't have a suspense area.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
So the number system looking way better now that you've changed it.
Is it you back? Who is it?
Chanel, sir.
Oh, yes, folks. Chanel was the one who helped me out greatly. Right, so I told her that was a great, she probably thought it was something small, but that helped a lot. So I'm glad you like it. So you find it's more user-friendly now, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, so even if you do it on a phone and you have 4 levels of this, it will work. All right. So yeah, so you will have to go through the application from 1 to 9 and submit it. Because you could save each part. Mr. Valles, I think you could. I didn't actually test that, you know. I didn't actually test that, but seeing that you see.
I was wondering if Alicia could close off what she had already and start back from number 6. No, Chelsea, in some subjects I think have 4 profiles, but it's not like a common thing. So you're just filling out the first 3 profiles for the subjects that you put in it. I think there's one subject with 4 profiles, if I'm not mistaken, in CSEC, but to tell you off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure what it is.
Right. Folks, it'll probably be nice for you also to decide that after you finish each tab to save it, right? Now you could go ahead and log it out and try logging back in and see if the first set of stuff that you put still there, or if it was erased. That might be a nice little test to see if you didn't do the final submission, if whatever you enter before, if it stayed, if the student had to run to do something and they couldn't finish, if they could just log it out and it will save up to where they reach. So if you reach up to 5, that might be a nice little test.
Yeah.
So somebody could probably try that out and give us some feedback and let us know if you log back in, if you get to see up to where they enter.
Probably Alicia, you could try that, or did you just and see if you could start back over at 7 with the document upload?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording now, right? Here's recording all this time.